Okay, so in this video, I just want to show you a couple quick key sort of things that might help while you're recording and mixing. So this is a session. This is a jazz group, student jazz group that we record in the spring. I've got drums being buzzed to some aux tracks. The overheads are going to an aux. Everything is being buzzed to this drums, aux, bass, piano, guitar, horns, etc. So you can see I've already done a lot of editing. I cut out some silence in the piano, cut out a little bit of silence in the bass, even though it was direct. The bass was being recorded direct. A little bit of buzz gets through and stuff like that. The guitar, cut out silences in the guitar. So just a couple quick things here. I don't know if you noticed, but I've got this piece of tape right across these keys. I really have it here for this F5 key. I use this all the time. It'll toggle your zoom. So if you're trying to zoom in on something to edit it, maybe to make a fade, like see I didn't make any fades on these. Well, I guess I did on some of them, huh? A couple of them here and there, and it looks like I gave up. But when this is magnifying glass, this is the zoom tool. When it has this arrow on it, it's set to single zoom mode. If you have it in normal zoom, then it'll just keep zooming in. Whatever you highlight, it's just going to keep zooming. I like to keep it on the single zoom because if I know I want to zoom in on this region right here, then I just hit my F5, boom, and then it goes back to what I have selected before, which is the I think it's called the special tool. What do they call it? Smart tool, where it's all three of these selected. R will zoom out from wherever your cursor is, and T will zoom in. So I use those constantly as well. Combination of the zoom tool where you can select your window to zoom in on, R to zoom out, T to zoom in. I use these all the time. My hand is pretty much just right here. Anybody who's familiar with Macs, Apple S will save. Even though Pro Tools has a automatic saving feature, I think it's probably set to save every 2 minutes. But still, it's a good habit to have. Just Apple S every once in a while. That way you don't lose anything. Let's see. If you want, so I've got groups already made. So the horns are grouped right now. And if you want to make just these tracks bigger, say you're gonna, edit something in the horn tracks. Well, you can, since they're grouped, you can select on this kind of ruler whatever size you want these tracks. Or, since they're selected, you can control arrow up, arrow down. Tab will go to the start or the end of a region. So I've got a fade here, right? So if my cursor is here, if I tab, it's going to bring me to the start of this region. If I tab again, it's going to bring me to the start of this next region. It counts these as two things. I mean, the fade file is it's part of this whole audio, but it makes a separate fade file. So we tab, we get there. Tab brings us to the end. Let's see, what else? If you can see, especially in the guitar here, it was recorded at a really low volume. So if you're trying to make some edits to the guitar track, we can make it bigger. But then if we also want to actually blow up the waveform, this up here, these arrows up and down, will expand the waveform. So that you can really more clearly see kind of where, where all these peaks are, right? And if you want to go back to the original recorded level of these audio files, you can double click on the zoom tool, and it'll zoom all the waveforms to their actual recorded amplitudes, and it'll zoom out to where all the audio from the beginning of the session to the end is visible. And I just kind of like to have all that centered when I'm working, so that's when I just hit that F5 and kind of center my my whole session here.